Jerrod, it's good to see you. And, I'm missing Candace live right now, so that's how important this is to me.
Yeah, well, thank you, Annette, for doing this. I appreciate it. This all started because you and I very much respect each other, and we don't always agree. And so I said, why don't we get some of this on video, right? And thankfully, we can disagree and commit and still be friends and love each other. And so I love fabrication, and so these guys at Metal Fab in West Richland were willing to let us, use their shop to kind of go through some stuff. But let's just start with where this really all started recently, with just Israel and TPUSA and Candace Owens and the whole thing with Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson and just that whole mishmash,
right?
Which you and I are kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum. With that. So let's dig into that. So what is your take? You're a Candace fan.
I am a huge Candace fan. Up until 6 months ago, I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to like this kind of background Israel thing that's going on. But I think Charlie Kirk's assassination was like, ever since then, I can't get enough. Candace, Tucker, Dave Smith, all these people, I'm watching all these, and people have been talking about this for a very long time. Right. I just, didn't really pay attention. But, I don't know. I think Candace is kind of my idol right now. Like, she just doesn't seem scared of anything.
There's a lot of sources of information out there. That's one of the things that's challenging is who do we listen to? I think a lot of people ask me that. I love Epic Times, for as far as reading and some of the documentaries and stories and things that they do. But there is a lot of personalities out there, right? And one of the challenges for me in this is one of my heroes, Mark Levin, I think is on the wrong side on this one,
I'm so glad you say that. He's a good guy, right? Like, I've always liked him.
Much,
he's usually like pretty middle, like just, I don't know.
He seems like a fighter to me. A lot of people don't like him because he gets his gander up a lot.
Right.
He yells. He maybe calls people some names. He's a little Trump-esque, with that. But he tells the truth. And on this one with attacking, Tucker Carlson, I don't see it. I don't think it's right. But I also think I'm quite irritated with Candace Owens because here's my thing. I think for you to really be in one of these positions, you have to be right like 99% of the time. Tucker Carlson and I think Mark Levin are right 99% of the time.
Yeah.
But people like Alex Jones and Stu Peters and Nick Fuentes, I don't even know if you can put Nick Fuentes into that category. He's way worse.
Gotta be careful with that one.
Yeah. And Candace Owens, I feel like they're right like 90% of the time.
So do you feel like that pre-Charlie Kirk though? Because her investigative series that she's done on Epstein, Brigitte Macron, Weinstein, the Blake Lively stuff, like I feel like she really does a lot of research. She has a lot of facts. I feel like she is right 95% of the time, I would say. The Charlie Kirk stuff's a little different because nobody knows what the truth is, right? We're all trying to find it.
That's what I'm saying. I think in order to be really reputable, you have to be right 99% of the time. And the 1% is when you just make a mistake, and then you have to own that, and and I think Tucker does that. The other thing that's different about Tucker is he oftentimes doesn't say it. He doesn't say what he thinks it should be or what direction he thinks we should go. He's just giving you all the information to let you make a decision.
Yeah.
Where Mark Levin and Candace Owens, they absolutely are like, this is what's going on. This is what you should think. This is what that's kind of and again, the folks that I put in that category are, Alex Jones, Stu Peters, and Stu Peters loves Jesus.
Yeah.
But those three and Candace Owens, I feel like they're only right about 90% of the time. And it's not a big difference. And people might say, well, they're right 90% of the time. Like, why is that not good enough? You can get elected with 51%. How come they can't be right with 90? Because it's that 10% where I feel like they're taking all the pieces of information that they have and they're sort of conjecturing, maybe guessing, maybe an educational guess. Like, I don't think Candace is a bad person. I've been a fan of hers for a long time.
Yeah.
And some of the work that you mentioned, maybe she was right 99% of the time on that. But in this one, this whole deal with TPUSA and with Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk, I I think she's reaching, and it bothers me.
Yeah, a lot of people hear that. I've heard that from a lot of people, and it's actually surprised me because I've watched every episode she's done since Charlie was assassinated, and I think it's fascinating, and I think she's on the right track. And she has mentioned some people or mentioned some things that doesn't go anywhere, and then she kind of drops it, but I mean, she's fishing because yes, she's trying to find the information, and so I think it's a little different than like what we've seen her do in the past, but I think her intentions are good. I think she believes she's right. I think she's asking the right questions, and some of them may get answers we do or don't like, but
yeah, and I would believe that too. I mean, I think I've always had a lot of respect for her.
Yeah.
I think I first started following her, listening to her when, and again, I don't have time to listen to all these people.
Yeah.
I just I hear different, so I don't follow or listen to Candace, regularly, but back when she started I think it was called Blexit, she started that whole thing where it was called the Black Exit.
Oh yeah.
Where the African American community were going more Republican, which, I mean, she was kind of the spear of that. So yeah, I mean, that's the challenge.
Yeah.
And I don't want to label her necessarily, but I do think, in my view, I think she's taken this too far, and it could be an emotional thing. It could be a fear thing. And I think, you can relate to this too. When you get into this political space that we're in America today, which is now sort of homogenized with the rest of the world, it's scary.
Yeah.
People's lives are at stake. And Candace is not immune to that.
No, yeah.
And so that pressure, she's a mom now, she's married, that pressure could be having an effect on, the things that she's saying. And she could have some righteous, I don't know if indignation is the right word, but some righteous responsibility to defend her friend Charlie Kirk. But I just think pointing her arrows at Erica and at TPUSA is wrong.
Which, to be fair, Jerrod, she did not point arrows at Erica till last week when Erica went on a tour and basically razzed Candace in every single interview. Mm. She's been very careful about what she has said. She has never once said Erica had something to do with it. Like and people, and I've been someone, I'm like, why are you not looking at Erica? Like there's something anyway, but she's been really good until last week she even one day on her podcast was like, people are asking me why I'm not going after Erica, and Erica hasn't said anything. She's like, I am addressing people that are telling lies, that I know they're lying. I appreciate that she's asking the questions.
For example, she went after Mikey McCoy, which I know Mikey McCoy. I spent time with him as well as Charlie Kirk on multiple different occasions. Mikey is a good kid. He's a young guy, but the things that she said about him in terms of like what he did immediately when Charlie was shot was not, I mean, it was information, but it wasn't, her perspective on it and her going after him was not right. And, I think that was stretching. And that's what I'm talking about, where it's like, maybe this is good for her in terms of getting followers or whatever, but Mikey would never be a part of anything that would hurt Charlie or Erica. I guarantee you that. His father is a great pastor and also a very good friend of TPUSA, and so that's an example specifically. Now, admittedly, I don't watch Candace, and so I get a lot of hearsay, and so then I have to go and, well, where's the clip of that? Well, I didn't watch the whole show, so I don't know the context. Now, I'm kind of in the same spot as Tucker. I really like Candace. I don't want her to be demonized in this. I just think she went too far with this. And I think that if there could be some sort of reconciliation for her to say, well, this is what I was thinking, this is the text I had, maybe I took that a little bit too far, but, I was just trying to expose the truth. Okay.
Yeah. And I think she kind of said that yesterday, after her long talk with Erica on Monday.
She did. Well, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't say she was wrong. She said they had a good talk. There were some things, and nobody has said, this is what you're lying about. She's the first one, and she will say, if I'm lying about something, show me where I'm lying, and I will be the first one to say, okay. And so that's kind of what she's been waiting for, and it hasn't happened. And I think that the clicks and people send clips and they say this, and I've said this people about Charlie, because so many people will say Charlie was a racist, Charlie, whatever all the crazy things are that people say about Charlie. And I'm like, you send me one event, one whole podcast, one debate where the entire thing, and the message is anything but love and Jesus and faith and family and God, like, okay, I'll listen to it. And nobody can send you that because they take one line out of a 2-hour event and, oh, he's a racist. Yeah. And, you know, he was great. Someone would say, ask him a hard question. He'd be like, okay, do you want, you know, the nice version, or do you want me to be honest with you? And he was, and the kid says, be honest with me. And he's like, okay. And I guarantee you the next words out of his mouth were going to be a little offensive.
Yeah.
But
he did it in such a loving way. As I love Charlie Kirk. I love what he stood for, the way he addressed things, his unique ability to remember facts, especially biblical scripture. The guy was like a walking Awana club.
Candace says he has a photographic memory. And like that makes it make so much sense because he was amazing.
He really was, yeah. When he would address students at schools on campus, it was amazing. If you ever notice, you watch the videos, he was never holding the microphone. He was listening. He was just sitting, listening, letting them, you know, every once in a while he'd be, okay, you know, they'd be going on and he'd be kind of trying to move them. But for the most part, usually the microphone was sitting on the table or on his lap or something. And even when they got up and they were just like belligerent and calling him names and swearing and doing all this stuff and really going after him, he never let that stuff hit him. It always let it bounce off. And he would always redirect his pure love back to them. So what I hear you saying is, so that's not true, but let's unpack it. You know, I mean, it's just so amazing. I think he's such an amazing, you know, role model for so many of us. You know me, I can get pretty fired up. I get very irritated because I think that success in America is at our fingertips and we're just not grabbing it. Like there's so much ignorance and apathy among the population that we're allowing politicians to totally take advantage of us and to abuse us and to spend our money in ways we would never do it. So quite interesting. So let's jump to the beef between primarily Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson, but it also includes Mark Levin. Yeah. What's your take on that?
I mean, I am a Tucker fan 100%. I think he asks the right questions. He's calm about it. I don't feel like he's ever accusing anyone of anything. I feel like he puts out good content, good information. I love that he'll talk to anybody. I mean, he'll talk to anybody. I think that's we need more of that.
I agree with that. I think he's a good, true journalist. I think he's one of the few. What do you think, though, about the comparison between his interview with Nick Fuentes and Ted Cruz?
So, well, here's the first thing I noticed when people started coming out, because I've watched both of those interviews, and he did go a little bit easy on Nick Fuentes in that he didn't attack him, but Nick Fuentes also never attacked Tucker. If you watch the Ted Cruz, as soon as Tucker asked him, oh, what was the question? And he quotes, he says, well, what was the main question that like got the whole thing started, right? Like,
I don't remember.
Something about like, why are we supposed to, like, I don't know, whatever that question was that he asked, the very first thing. And Ted attacks him. He gets super defensive. He starts calling him names. He calls him an anti-Semite. Like, he came out angry against Tucker. Well, so then Tucker, of course, is going to go a little bit harder at him, right? Because he's pushing where him and Nick never got in. I think if Nick would have, because Nick had said some things about Tucker's dad, and that's right, kind of why Tucker finally reached out and was like, okay, I'm just going to talk to this kid and find out what's going on. But the whole conversation was very respectful, and Tucker was like, oh, okay, and Nick was like, oh, okay, whereas that was not, I mean, and I think it was Ted Cruz who went after Tucker. It was not Tucker initially going after Ted Cruz.
Good take.
So I think that's why there was
and I like Ted Cruz. I think, he's certainly not perfect, but, he's served our country well, and I think he's a good senator. That's my take. I don't know him personally, but, with Nick Fuentes on Tucker, I felt like Tucker was like, I'm just going to let this guy sink himself. Because some of the stuff he says is so stupid and just so like outlandish.
Yes, I love Joseph Stalin. I literally think he said that.
Like, oh my gosh, like, and at first I was like, well, wait a second, why didn't Tucker go after him to dig more? But he doesn't need to.
You don't really have to at that point, right?
Literally, laid it out for himself.
I think that's very valid. I don't think Tucker's general MO is to attack people, but I think, Ted kind of came out swinging with because he couldn't. Tucker was like, well, where is that in the Bible? And immediately Tucker didn't,
he's not,
Ted Cruz didn't know. He's like, oh, I don't know, in Genesis somewhere. And Tucker's like, well, no, actually it's here, and this is what it actually said. So it was just a way more combative interview, I think.
What about the timing of having Fuentes on? Because that's really the big thing. As I've looked at this, I think the timing is what really bothered Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin. Ben Shapiro more so, because if you look at the 18 to 29 group, Ben Shapiro was number 2, behind Charlie Kirk. And so Ben Shapiro has the most to gain from the death of Charlie Kirk. And with Tucker platforming Nick Fuentes, now Nick Fuentes is 8th, right behind Dennis Prager.
Okay.
And Dennis Prager got hurt. Great man, amazing. I've learned so much from him over the years, but he got hurt because he fell, and he has some recovery he's going through. So he has not been active this last year. So basically they took out Charlie, Dennis got hurt, and now Nick Fuentes is in the spot of, he's sitting 8th and ratcheting his way up. So, and the other thing, and I'll just say this, I have zero respect for Ben Shapiro.
Oh, good. I'm glad we can agree. What has happened to him?
The most condescending, just unbelievable human being. He is very anti-Jesus. He's very anti-Christian. He will tell people like you and I that believe in Jesus as Savior that we're essentially dumb. We're like, why would you believe in that guy?
Yeah.
And most people don't know that, and so, him and Mark Levin both have very strong positions, and I think in many respects, rightfully so, in terms of supporting Israel. I'm not anti-Israel. I'm not an anti-Zionist, not anti-Semitic at all. But I think both those guys, they especially Ben Shapiro, they really lean into possibly being Israel first instead of America first.
100%. I agree.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the beginning of that was the timing of Tucker having Nick on. Do you think Tucker?
Do I think he had like an undermine? I don't know that Tucker. I mean, he does interview. I don't know that he put that much effort into
Russia
it.
And talks to Putin like nobody else
right.
does that.
Like
right?
I don't know that he thought, "Ooh, I'm going to have this come out this day just to, make Ben look worse," or I don't know. I think he's talking to people, and I don't think it would have mattered when he put it out. It would have had the same effect.
Because Tucker and Mark Levin don't have a dog in the fight for the 18 to 29 group.
Right. There's a guy I listen to, his name's Jesse on Fire, and he makes me laugh. He's kind of funny, and he breaks down a bunch of these podcasters and different things. And the other day he was watching someone else's podcast and saying, "Dude, you got 40,000 followers. That's awesome. Good for you." And he said, "You know what? Nobody should be angry when someone else gets more followers." I feel like with Ben, he's like, he doesn't want people to be successful. And when this guy said this, I was like, that is just an awesome way to look at it. Like, people watching him does not mean less people are watching. Yeah. Just like with this Tim Pool and Candace, they're really talking to the same people. So you yelling at Candace is really probably not helping you. You're really just offending the people that are watching you, because the people that are watching you are probably watching her. Like, can't we just all be successful and be happy for each other?
Yeah, but that's also not always possible in politics. Sometimes you have to stand your ground. Sometimes you got to take a stand. What you take a stand on, that could be another story. So anything else we want to talk about in regards to Israel or any of that issue? I mean, I feel like we covered the top.
I mean, I'm curious, your thoughts. So I feel like we have really become Israel first. I think MAGA is dead. I can't believe how many of our politicians have dual citizenship with Israel. This is what I really feel like I've been awakened to in the last few months. I just didn't even really know, that this was such a big deal. But I'm just curious, what do you think the same, or am I way off base?
I'm asking a lot of questions. I want to know, for example, our dual citizenship between the regular citizens and Congress is wildly different.
Yeah.
We have 8x more members of Congress with dual citizenship than general citizens. And so that brings questions to my mind. It doesn't bring any results or any assumptions or whatever, but I'm just asking questions like, why is that? Are people that are pro-Israel more passionate about serving because they know that the U.S. needs to remain pro-Israel in order to be able to support them in the midst of where they're at geographically? Like, for example, we basically fund the Iron Dome in Israel, and we have for decades. Or are there other people that are funding pro-Israel people? and making sure they get elected.
I
so
mean,
that
yeah,
they can
look
have
at AIPAC,
so it's
right? Are you
AIPAC.
following
So there's
AIPAC?
lots of, and so I'm not making any assumptions. I'm a Christian, you're a Christian. I believe that we ought to stand with Israel. But I also think we ought to ask a lot of questions, just like the, what now, 200 and almost $300 billion we've sent to Ukraine. I think we ought to have a lot of questions about that. The American people ought to be told, like, where's the itemized list of where that money went? And it's the same thing with the money that we're sending Israel. We already send money to lots of countries in this world to basically buy their friendship. That's called allies.
Yeah.
And because we have a lot of money in America, we do that. And I'm okay with that, because if we didn't do it, China would. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the way the world works. And so we help these other countries, but we have an allocation of money that we send to Israel, but almost every single year we're passing bills to send them even more money for other specific reasons. And it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that we shouldn't. I'm not saying if I went to Congress that I wouldn't support those things, but I think we ought to ask those questions, you know? And so I think it leans into what you're saying. It's like, are some of these people Israel first? Like, I would just argue that I think Ben Shapiro is Israel first.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
In terms of the way he comes across. And so I think it's a good question.
I think it's been interesting. Candace will talk about how when she first kind of got blacklisted was when she said genocide is not okay in any country. And I'm thinking, well, of course, that seems like a pretty human statement to say, but this whole speaking out against Israel, really gets people worked up. And I've had a lot of conversations with my dad specifically over the last couple months, because he's super, very Bible history, all the things, and trying to figure out, so Israel, the Israel of the Bible is not necessarily the Israel of Benjamin Netanyahu, right?
Agreed.
I feel like we have to be able to look at it.
Yeah, and to that point, there's a massive voting bloc in New York who just voted for a socialist mayor of New York. And so that means a lot of Jewish people voted for that. And so are those people synonymous with the Israel of the Bible, with the Israel that came from Jacob? That kind of, I'm not sure that's what we want to support.
Right.
Right? And so, yeah, there's a lot of questions with that. I think in our minds, we look at these other countries, whether it's races or, countries of origin or whatever, and we just sort of bucket them all together. It's like a lot of other people, if you're in France or Germany or in Australia, you look at America and you're like, America is America is America. No, not if you live here. There's the moderate Republicans and Democrats, and then there's extreme weirdos that are pushing all kinds of craziness that we don't want.
Yeah.
And dragging their party along with them, I think unknowingly in a lot of cases.
Yeah.